Well, the one thing that I've learned about working with deities is to always keep an open mind and to never make assumptions based on their lore. Some people, when they hear Lucifer's name, they expect him to be a certain kind of way. Same with Loki, same with Venus, same with every single big name deity that's out there. You can make all the assumptions you want, but there will eventually come a point when you're working with spirits or deities where they're going to do something or say something that will just completely throw you off because you didn't think they were like that. I never expected Loki to be so down to cuddle. Lucifer can be such a dad at times, and he can either be very passive-aggressive when he wants something, or insanely direct and firm about it. So if you show that you're not just going based off of preconceived notions about them, that puts you on equal footing with them and they're more willing to talk. And this is why I personally say you shouldn't be nervous to work with deities. Understand, these beings are thousands of years old. They have seen and worked with so many people, chances are they know how to try to help you with your situation. Lucifer and Loki actually ganged up on me earlier this week because I suffered from mild burnout and was at war with myself on whether or not I should go in for another extended shift at work. And they were both like, Elias, don't do this to yourself. You're already burnt out enough as it is. It is not worth it. I'm a super major workaholic, so I suffer from this problem a lot. When a deity interferes like that, that means it is time for you to stop whatever you're doing and take some time to take care of yourself. And that is something they are hard committed to. Okay, so I would like to preface this by saying I am not looking for a fight. However, the indigenous tribes of North America and Canada aren't the only tribes that wore face paint. I'm a pagan that just so happens to do a lot of deity work, and one of the deities that I work with currently is Loki. Loki found out that I have makeup that I haven't used in years and greatly encouraged me to go and try and wear it. Initially, as an FTM trans man, wearing any sort of makeup whatsoever used to make me very dysphoric and not at all comfortable in my own skin. This, however, makes me feel empowered and like I can tackle anything. If you were to go back about 10 videos, you would see that I ask the Norse pagans, how do you make up? Because I don't know how to make up. I am not trying to appropriate native culture, and I'm sorry if it comes across that way. Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of comments like this pop up, and I see your guys' point. However, here's the thing. Do you know how many times I get asked every single week where someone can find a reliable source about paganism, about deities, etc.? And do you know how many hours I've just spent sitting at this exact spot going, let's not kid ourselves. A lot of our shit has been tampered with by Christians. While there are some similarities, Paradise Lost is not a good source to get information on Lucifer. The Prose and Poetic Eddas are good sources of entertainment and good sources to get some very, very basic information about the Norse gods, but the baked-in Christianity sticks out like a sore thumb. All I'm looking for is public places where us pagans can teach people who are interested about our religions just the same as Christianity has with its religion. The largest sense of community us pagans have occurs online. And that's sad. Draw algaes on your windows and your mirrors. So thus far, all is well. However, I did have an occurrence yesterday morning that I find just a little bit suspicious. So I put one on each portion of my windows. As you can probably tell, there's one right there, one up there. I know they're hard to see, but there's one on each portion of the window. This morning, a female cardinal flew up to one of my windows and just hovered there at one of the algae symbols for a hot 5 seconds. And then she flew off, probably back to her nice handsome red male cardinal. Not only did she stop at one of the algae symbols, but she stared directly through the window at me. Why? So I fell asleep while I was meditating last night, and that makes me want to talk about meditation. I've had plenty of people ask me if it's bad to fall asleep during meditation. And the short answer, it's not bad, but you could end up waking up extremely tired. I've also had plenty of people ask me how they can meditate, especially if they're people with ADHD. For the record, I've never been diagnosed with any other disorder other than gender dysphoria, so I don't think I am the right person to be talking about this type of stuff. But I googled it, and maybe these pieces of advice can help for you. Start off small. I'm able to meditate for 30 to 45 minutes because I'm just able to. If you want to keep your own sessions to 5 or 10 minutes, that's perfectly fine. If music helps you focus, then you're allowed to listen to music while you meditate. That's perfectly fine. I actually meditate to the sound of my clocks ticking, and that might drive some people insane. And remember that there is no wrong way to meditate. If it works for you, it works for you. For the record, Ram is probably one of the most easygoing of my deities. Went 7 years without even knowing his name. It's really good to keep in mind that Ram is incapable of human speech. He does make sounds. They sound very similar to the vocalizations of a raven, but for the most part, the way he and I communicate is through a psychic connection. If you do plan on making an altar for Ram, I feel like a good first offering to him is something that is completely and utterly useless to you, but still holds some sort of value. Example, my first offering to him was a bunch of old earrings that I didn't want to get rid of, but I also don't use. Other than that, rocks, random pieces of wood, feathers, he's not picky about offerings. And the biggest no-no is don't get political with him. He is the destroyer of dignities, and he hates all politicians. And he's a great deity for beginners as well.
Magical, mythical, opinion, or hot take that you would literally die on a hill for.
Ooh, this is gonna make some people mad. I personally believe that it's okay to view your deities as hot or attractive. It is okay to be a bit of a simp for your deities. Lucifer knows. Loki knows. The point where I feel like it crosses the line is when you actively try to pursue a romantic or sexual relationship with them. Trying to pursue a relationship like that is not ideal, realistic, or sustainable. Even God-spousing can be a touchy subject to some pagans. These beings are your mentors, and you their devotees. To put in a real-world perspective, imagine a teacher-student relationship. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But it is okay to simp. See, at first, I wondered this too. It's like, what's wrong with this? There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with this. But after thinking about it a little bit more and listening to other pagans' opinions on the matter, I've come to agree with them. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to give it to you straight. Number one, you would have to be comfortable with the fact that you're probably not the only one. There are 7 billion people on this planet, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of deities, and there are trillions of spiritual beings. You think you're going to be the only one? I'm the jealous type, and that is a fact I cannot handle, so I'm not going to put myself in that situation to begin with. Number two, you could miss an opportunity to meet an actual physical person that could make you equally as happy. And number three, it could impact that deity-devotee relationship. Being casual is one thing, being romantic and sexual is a whole nother thing. Well, if you've been on TikTok recently, you probably know a little bit about the anti-abortion laws that some states are passing. And those laws are being passed by pro-lifers who more than likely have a religious agenda. The Satanic Temple has been actively trying to fight against all this for years. And from the looks of it, more and more people are choosing their bodily autonomy over their religion. And I'm pretty sure there's more than a few Christians who just hear Satanic Temple and automatically think that these people are turning to Satanism. I even saw a TikTok of one, I believe he's an atheist, completely outing toxic Christianity and saying Christianity is the new adversary to humanity, the new Satan. And for every Christian in that comment section that's going, "Nuh-uh, you're wrong," there are plenty more people who are saying, "No, you're right." And for the record, religious wars have started over the stupidest of things. So I feel like the fear is not unjustified. Well, first off, the term Satan just means adversary, and the term adversary just means an opponent or a conflicting force. So basically, Satanism and the Satanic Temple is the conflicting force that is trying to fight against the Christian agenda. The whole reason the Satanic Temple was founded to begin with was to show all of America, hey, Christianity is not the only religion that's out there. If you're really for freedom of religion, you'll allow us to construct something for our people who aren't Christians. Not only are they dedicated to fighting for our rights, but they're also dedicated to fighting against any political decisions that are made solely based around religion. And for the record, they are completely transparent. All of the information about them is on their website. Only those who are truly ignorant call them evil. Personally, while I think it is possible, like I said in a previous TikTok, you're not going to be the only one. Deities and other metaphysical beings are widely notorious for sleeping around. Just note the stories you see in movies and fantasy novels, that's just what they are. Stories and fantasies. Do you know how many people want to get in bed with Loki? And I ain't just talking about cuddling neither. And any so-called deity that is eager to get in bed with a human is, in all likelihood, a trickster spirit looking to feast off of your spiritual energy. Because that's one of the ways they can do that. Whether it's physical, mental, emotional, any way they can catch you when you're vulnerable is ideal for them to immediately latch onto you. So yeah, it's nothing like the fantasy novels.
So it's respect all religions, unless it's Christianity.
You're close. Respect all religions, unless it's toxic Christianity. You talk so much in that video about, oh, if we get rid of Christianity, this is gonna become an immoral nation. Yet, you toxic motherfuckers are probably the most immoral people alive. Your people vandalize any religious monument that is erected that is non-Christian. You force your disgusting religion on people who didn't ask. Your religion has literally eradicated thousands of civilizations for your God. Your people continue to disown your children for their religious identity, their gender identity, or their sexual identity. And time again, you choose God over the people who stand before you. You toxic Christians are disgusting. Couple things come to mind when I think about that. Number one, they're probably a young pagan that lacks experience. I know. I used to have similar fantasies when I was younger. I am guilty as well. Number two, if Hades actually said that to them, then it's most likely a trickster spirit. And number three, explain to me why. Option A, the actual daughter of Demeter, who is a literal goddess and could probably destroy you and your entire life in one blow, or a human. Listen, I know we've all dreamed about being the main character. We've all dreamed about being the chosen one. But that's just not how it is. I don't think Hades would ever choose a human over Persephone.
Y'all are worshipping rocks. You're calling them crystals. You're worshipping rocks.
As a pagan, I am hoping I can keep this a civil interaction and offer you my perspective on things. I realized a long time ago that not everyone is meant to worship the same deity. Much like some people aren't really meant to work with Loki or Venus, some people aren't meant to work with the Christian God, and I believe that's okay. A lot of Christians like to refer to my deities as demons trying to lead me astray, and I can tell you that's not true. If there's something we want, they make it very obvious that we have to work for it. There are what we refer to as trickster spirits that try to offer us things that seem too good to be true, which they usually are. But just because it's not God or Jesus doesn't mean it's Satan or demons. There are other deities out there. And my crystals are just tools. I don't worship them. Hey, now, we're not that petty. We are not that petty. You can say whatever you want when we sneeze. Bless you, gesundheit, excuse you, etc. I think the only point where we actually go, really, seriously, is when you say, God bless you. It's not even a shocked kind of way either, like, God bless you. It's, God bless you. Bless you is fine. Bless you is fine. Bless is not a triggering word to most witches and pagans. In fact, at the end of a ritual or a spell, or when we are sending someone on their way, saying goodbye, in a sense, we say, blessed be. So yes, it is perfectly fine to tell a pagan, bless you when they sneeze. And I want to know how well that's working out for them right now. There are so many pagans that work with Hades and Persephone that'll beg to differ. I could claim to be any sort of deity under the moon, and there are plenty of other pagans that'll call me out on my shit because they'll beg to differ. I could easily say that I was the human incarnation of Sigyn, one of Loki's wives. And people would call me out on my bullshit. This is one of the oldest tricks in the books performed by trickster spirits. To make you feel special. To make you feel more than just human. I know as pagans we all say we are gods in our own right. We all hold a certain level of power, influence, and control. But it's nothing compared to the level of power, influence, and control from actual deities. That's a dangerous game that person's playing right there. Someone save me, I haven't even had my morning cup of coffee yet. For the record, no, I did not wake up of my own accord. I felt a disturbance in the Force. And by the Force, I mean Lucifer. Brew faster! So I guess while we're waiting on my morning cup of coffee, to the person who says that they're in a fully monogamous relationship with Lucifer, I hope you understand how angry and upset the real Lucifer is. He says this has gone beyond the point of flattery. This is blatant misinformation. I would have stitched or duetted your video, but your stitches and duets were off. A message from Lucifer to you. He says that it's okay if you want to devote yourself as a god spouse to him, but to claim that you're his one and only wife is very arrogant of you. Yeah, I know, right? For the record, I went back and did a double take, and they claim that they were channeling one known as Goddess Morningstar. It was Goddess Morningstar saying those things, not the TikTok creator in general. How do I put this? Morningstar is not Lucifer's last name unless you're going by the version of Lucifer from the Netflix series. For the fallen angel Lucifer, Morningstar is a title. And while I cannot vouch for whether or not Lucifer is actually married, I know as for a fact he is not in a fully monogamous relationship. Again, deities have a tendency to sleep around. Lucifer is one of those deities. Loki is one of those deities. So a lot of people are confused as to what god spousing is, so I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. The easiest comparison I can draw to is a nun. They are fully committed to this deity in worship and practice. However, a lot of people try to use it under the pretense that they are dating or otherwise romantically or sexually involved with their deities. Actual, real, authentic god spouses are a lot more rare than you think. It's not something to be done impulsively just because you are attracted to your deity. This is something you have to thoroughly think to and wonder to yourself if you are going to be fully committed to this deity. And some deities are not available to be god spoused. Hades and Persephone are not available to be god spoused. Do you want to end up like Minty? The problem that I have with Maeve Morningstar is that she doesn't even give Goddess Morningstar a name. The actual spouses of deities do not go by titles like that. You see, new is one thing, but that's not my issue. The first is this supposed new deity claiming to be Lucifer's wife. Brand new to the deity circuit, and Lucifer decides, yep, that's the one. That is the one I want to spend the rest of eternity with nobody else in the picture whatsoever. I'm sorry, I just can't see it. Man fools around too much. The second is this deity's supposed name. Goddess Morningstar. That's it. Usually the spouses of other deities have a name we can refer to them by. And again, Morningstar is not Lucifer's surname. Morningstar refers to the planet Venus, and there are several deities that fall under the planet Venus. Lucifer's just one of them. There is so much wrong with this picture. This is a hard question for me to answer. My mind and my gut are telling me no, but I think it depends on your own personal practice. I feel like the more deities your god spouse to, the more complicated your practice and your life in general will become. Because taking that oath of dedication to just one deity as a god spouse doesn't just apply to your own personal practice, but it extends to your life beyond that, and the people that are in it. Like, I'm not god spouse to anybody, but just to have Loki join the inner circle of deities that I work with, he had to get through Lucifer, Venus, and Ram. And while I ultimately made the final decision on that, had I been god spouse to any of my deities, they'd also have a say as to whether or not I would be working with Loki. Then again, god spousing is not something I'm experienced in, but that is what my gut is telling me. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen. See, this is something I myself feel very conflicted about. On the one hand, I believe it's possible because once upon a time, the deities we all know and love used to be brand spanking new. But on the other hand, some of the options that I've heard about just make me go, wait, what? These new deities you're referring to are being referred to as pop culture deities. The two that I've heard of other practitioners seeing include Tony Stark and Wonder Woman. And I don't know how to feel about that. On the one hand, I'm trying to be open-minded because I try to think, well, how are these characters going to look to a human civilization 1,000 years from now, let's just say. But on the other hand, my mind is like, this is Tony Stark and Wonder Woman we're talking about. Why? Conflicted. That's how I feel about pop culture deities. I feel conflicted. WitchTok, I did it. I found a word. As some of you probably know, I shared an audio yesterday of someone who was calling for a mass binding on toxic Christianity. Specifically toxic Christianity, because I know there are a lot of Christians who either back us up or leave us alone who don't want to be lumped in with them. I have found a word to describe these toxic Christians. Someone suggested we call them crusaders, but someone else pointed out that these toxic Christians would actually take that as a compliment. But how about martyrizer? For those who don't know, here's the definition of martyrize. These Christians who want to attack us for our beliefs and try to convert us and put us down and just generally will not leave us alone are, from here on out, to be referred to as martyrizers. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, let me know. Okay, so far, a lot of people seem to be down with calling toxic Christians martyrizers. The only concern I've been seeing in terms of the new term is people being worried that the martyrizers will take it as a compliment. First of all, martyrizers will take getting into a heated argument in the comment section with a pagan as a compliment. Example, I got into it with one the other day, and they pretty much said, see, it's people like you that make me more and more thankful I'm a Christian every single day. Thanks. It's people like you that make me more and more thankful that I'm a pagan every single day. Thanks. Do know there is a difference between a martyr and to martyrize. Jesus Christ was a martyr. He was killed for speaking a truth that people didn't want to hear. Martyrizers were the ones that killed him. And at that point, the ones who fail to see the difference can automatically be told Google is free.
See, to believe in hell and not warn somebody about it makes me question.
Hello, martyrizer. Congratulations, you're the first person I've officially used that term on this app. The thing of the matter is, I think everybody knows what hell is, that trying to warn somebody about it would be kind of redundant at this point. And I think it's getting to the point where the majority of us only see it as propaganda for your religion. I only ask of one thing. Advocate for your religion without mentions of hell, demons, Satan, or God's wrath. Tell me about your religion and how great it is without mentioning any of that. And most martyrizers that I deliver this question to just choose to get angry at me and pitch a fit. I can tell people about my religious beliefs without threatening anyone. There is no become a pagan or else something extremely bad will happen to you. You're pretty much the only people that do that.
The only thing we're trying to do is educate because we love you.
Okay, so this is no hate thrown towards you necessarily, but here's why I have a problem with that narrative. Pretty much like 99% of the time, people are not educating us about the Bible or Jesus or God because they love us. Most of the time, they don't know us. They don't know what we're like. All they know is that we're not Christian. We witches and pagans do not educate others about our religions because the deities love them. Most of the time we're doing it because our religions and deities have been misrepresented through Christianity or through pop culture. To say that you're only educating other people about Jesus and the Bible because you love them has the same energy of a parent telling their kid, I'm only doing this because I love you, which is highly toxic. Trying to educate due to misrepresentation is more like it.